Lisa here with Lisa Speakman Photography, and today I'm going to show you how you can get rid of the little white halo lines around your image when you've pumped up the sharpening and the clarity a little bit too far. So let's get started. Alright, so let's get to work on this photo. This is a photo that I took out in Joshua Tree National Park last summer, and I just loved all of these rock formations. So I really want to push my processing a little bit on this photo to really bring out the texture and the detail in these rocks. But what oftentimes happens when we push that contrast and that structure is that we end up with little halos all along our edges here. So I've done some basic adjustments in Photoshop and in Nik Collections Viveza 2 and have boosted up my structure and my clarity and my fine detail. So inevitably I got the little white halos. Now if I was just showing this on Facebook or on a website somewhere and I was going to just share it as a small size, then this would probably not be a problem. It's not going to be that big a deal. But it always happens that the one photo you think is just going to be shared on Facebook, somebody's going to want to print this and buy it. So once printed up, you're really going to start noticing these at larger sizes. So in order to get rid of this without backing off of my processing here, because I really like the processing, I'm going to do a little trick on this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a selection, and I don't even want to do the entire thing at one time. I'm going to break this up into little sections, but I'm going to make a selection of my sky, and that's where we're going to be working. And by making this selection here, what I'm doing is any changes that I make here will not spill over into my rocks. So once I've made a selection, and it can just be a rough selection, but make sure that your edges here along your rock line are including all of the rocks and none of the sky. I'm going to zoom this in to 200 or 100%. And you can see I've got my selection here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now add just a blank layer. So I'm going to go down here to the create new layer icon at the bottom of my screen, and I'm going to make all of my adjustments here on this layer so that I can go back and make any adjustments, or if I mess something up I can just erase from here and I don't have to start over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my clone stamp brush, and for this I'm going to take my hardness down to maybe 8-9%. We want a pretty soft stamper here, because what we're going to do is, holding down the Alt key, I'm going to grab the color from the sky in these areas, and I'm going to go right over the edge of the rock here. And I can sample from different areas depending where I'm at. And it may not be exact on these little hairy things. I'm not going to worry about it too much. We'll go over on this side and we'll grab this. And all you're doing when you're grabbing what you're going to be clone stamping with is you're going to hold down the Alt key as you do this. So we're going to Alt click and then right over the edge of that rock. And then if we get to, say, a blue area, we can do sample the blue. We're just going to go right over this, and I'm not going to worry about these little pieces of grass for right now. Matter of fact, I might just clone them out just for the sake of time right now. Alright, so we're going to go around this entire edge here and just resampling as necessary, and right over the edge of that rock. So it looks like here we kind of have a change in color, so we can kind of get there. And your sampler will also follow your your brush. So if you've got kind of a straight line here, it'll automatically resample from right next to where you're painting, so that shouldn't be an issue. So you just kind of go along here. We'll get down into this crevice. And I won't go over the entire thing. But then once you're done with the section, you would Control D to get rid of your selection. So now by doing this on a blank layer, you can also see your before and after. So you can see how nice and clean that edge is. So you would just go on to your next section here and make sure that when you're doing your selection, you're clicking onto the layer below to get the selection, otherwise it won't do it right. So we'll go here and we'll make, say, another selection here. And then we'll select our layer above. And again, with our clone stamp tool, we can do this section. We're just going to click, Alt click, grab our sample, maybe sample again here, and once again go right over the edge with that soft brush. And you'll notice, because I've made that selection, it's only going to affect anything that's within that selection. So that selection is basically protecting the rocks from what I'm doing here, so that I can go right over that edge. Alright, so again, Control D to deselect. We can turn off our layer above and see our before and after. So there's our before with that layer turned off, and then after. And so we've got nice clean edges here. So now I can print this at a larger size, and those white halos are not going to be distracting people from the image. And so you would just, in this particular case, go, making small selections, go all the way across and clean that up. And we will have the processing you want without the halos. So there you have it. I'm Lisa Speakman for Lisa Speakman Photography. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And also click the button to subscribe to my channel for more photography tutorials. See you next time.